continue with the next topic, that is gastroenteritis. So what is this gastroenteritis? So gastroenteritis, it is usually an inflammation of the GI tract. Okay, gastroenteritis, it is usually an inflammation of the GI tract. Okay, gastroenteritis, it is usually an inflammation of the GI tract. It involves both the stomach and the small intestine and resulting in acute diarrhea. Okay, so gastroenteritis, it is usually an inflammation of the GI tract, which usually involves both stomach as well as small intestine and usually causes acute diarrhea. So gastroenteritis, it is usually an inflammation of the GI tract. It usually involves both stomach as well as small intestine and usually causes this acute diarrhea. Okay, it usually causes this acute diarrhea. So gastroenteritis, it is usually a condition that usually causes irritation and inflammation in the stomach and small intestine. Okay, so gastroenteritis, it is usually a condition which usually causes irritation in the stomach as well as irritation and inflammation in the stomach as well as small intestine. So gastroenteritis, it is usually an inflammation of the GI tract which involves both stomach as well as small intestine. This usually it results in acute diarrhea. So this usually it is a condition which usually causes irritation and inflammation of the stomach as well as intestine. So this gastroenteritis, it is usually an infection which is usually caused by bacteria or parasites. Okay, it is usually a condition which is usually caused by bacteria or parasites and in the spoiled food or unclean water. Okay, in the spoiled food or where this bacteria and parasites will be present, it will be present in the spoiled food or unclean water. So that is usually about this. So this is usually caused by the parasites and bacteria which is usually present in the spoiled food or unclean water. So this gastroenteritis, it involves diarrhea or vomiting. Okay, it involves diarrhea and vomiting. So that is usually what happens. So, or a non-inflammatory reaction in the upper small bowel. Okay, so that is usually what happens. So this gastroenteritis, it is usually caused by this bacteria or parasites which is usually present in the unclean food or spoiled food or unclean water. So this usually causes like diarrhea or it might be having vomiting also. Okay, it causes with diarrhea or vomiting, or it usually causes some non-inflammatory reactions. Okay, it also causes some non-inflammatory reactions. So it is gastroenteritis, it is usually a condition which is usually an inflammatory which is usually an inflammation. It is usually an inflammation of the GI tract. It involves both stomach and intestine. Okay, it involves both stomach and intestine. This is usually results in acute diarrhea. So this GI gastroenteritis, it is usually infection which usually a condition which usually causes irritation and inflammation in the stomach as well as in the small intestine. This is usually caused by bacteria or parasites which is present in the spoiled food or unclean water, and this usually causes diarrhea as well as vomiting, or in few cases it might cause non-inflammatory reaction in the upper bowel. Okay, in the upper bowel. So it is usually about this definition. So next is causes of this gastroenteritis. So this causes, it is mainly seen that it is mainly caused like due to the it is usually caused due to the any when we come across with any contaminated water, when we drink contaminated water or when we eat contaminated food. So that time usually we develop this gastroenteritis. So the other causes for this gastroenteritis, it might be like they might be due to viruses, they might be due to any bacteria, they might be due to any parasites, or it might be due to any other causes. So gastroenteritis, it might be caused due to viruses, bacteria, parasites, or any other causes. Okay, it is usually caused it is usually seen that it is usually caused that when we are taking or when we are drinking contaminated water or when we are eating contaminated food, the organism enters into our body. And the main causes for this gastroenteritis, it might be due to any viruses, bacteria, or it might be due to parasites or any other causes. So what are the exact causes for this? It might be like virus. When we talk about like one by one, we see what are the different viruses that is causing, what are the different bacteria that is causing this gastroenteritis. So in this, the viruses which usually causes this gastroenteritis, it might be like norovirus, rotavirus, adenovirus, parvovirus. Okay, so viruses which is usually causes this gastroenteritis, it is norovirus, parvovirus, rotavirus and adenovirus. So the bacteria that is usually causes, it might be like Staphylococcus aureus, Escherichia coli, Streptococcus, Salmonella, Shigella, Campylobacter. So the bacteria which is usually causing this gastroenteritis, it might be Staphylococcus aureus, E. coli, Salmonella, Shigella, Campylobacter, Vibrio. Also, all these are the bacteria which is usually causing this gastroenteritis. And I said parasites. So parasites, it might be like Giardia, which is causing giardiasis, Cryptosporidium, which is causing cryptosporidiasis, and other, like this is usually parasites that is usually causes this gastroenteritis, that is Giardia and Cryptosporidium. The other causes for this gastroenteritis, it can be like any food allergy. Okay, it might be due to any food allergy such as egg, milk, shellfish, or nuts. So these are usually common food allergy where the person develops. When the person has this food, then the person might develop this gastroenteritis. And the other might be due to inability to tolerate sugar, lactose. Okay, inability to tolerate sugar, lactose, or milk and milk products. Okay, milk and milk products, or in few cases it might be like due to the intake of antibiotics. Okay, when they are having antibiotics as a side effects, they might develop this gastroenteritis. Or in case of due to the side effects of medications. Okay, due to the side effects of medications, okay, can cause this diarrhea. Okay, due to side effects of medications can cause this diarrhea. So that is usually about this, or due to toxins. Okay, or due to the toxins when we come across some heavy metal. Okay, when we come across some heavy metal, so due to this toxics, usually we can develop this gastroenteritis. So these are usually the causes for this gastroenteritis. So mainly I have told you that it might be caused due to the, or it might be spread due to the contaminated water and food. And the causes, it might be due to, the causes can be like viruses, bacteria, parasites, or any other causes. Viruses, it might be like rotavirus, adenovirus, parvovirus, norovirus. And the bacteria, it can be like Staphylococcus aureus, E. coli, Salmonella, Shigella, Campylobacter. So these are the bacteria that is usually causing the gastroenteritis. And next is parasites, that is Giardia and Cryptosporidium are the parasites which is causing this gastroenteritis. And the next is other causes. It might be like food allergy. Okay, the person are like few people will be allergic to milk, fish, and egg. So that is usually when they have this, they develop diarrhea. And few cases, in case of like antibiotics, okay, as a side effects of antibiotics, they develop this diarrhea. And next, in case of medications, like side effects of medications, they develop this diarrhea. Next, due to the exposure to any toxins like heavy metals, so that time they develop this diarrhea. So these are usually the causes of this gastroenteritis. Okay, this is usually causes of this gastroenteritis. Pathophysiology of gastroenteritis. So this is mainly due to etiological factors. Okay, it mainly occurs due to etiological factors. Okay, it usually occurs due to etiological factors. What is happening is that due to etiological factors, the human intestinal flora protects the bowel from colonization of pathogens. Okay, this is mainly due to etiological factors. What is happening is that it leads to human intestinal flora protects the bowel from colonization of the pathogens. Colonization is formation of the colonies by the organisms. So this usually that intestinal flora which is present in the intestine, it protects the bowel from colonization of the pathogens. So then when this intestinal flora can be disturbed, okay, so this intestinal flora, so normally the intestinal flora which is present, it protects our bowel from colonization of the pathogens. But when this intestinal flora is disturbed, okay, when this intestinal flora is disturbed, and this is usually disturbed by harmful bacteria and viruses, okay, it is usually disturbed by harmful bacteria and viruses. So when this gets disturbed, okay, when this gets disturbed, it causes tissue damage. Okay, when this gets disturbed, it causes tissue damage and inflammation. Okay, it causes tissue damage and inflammation. And then this is depressed by antibiotic therapy. Okay, this is depressed by antibiotic therapy which is administered either orally or intravenously. Okay, which is administered either orally and intravenously. So that is due to etiological factors. Normally our human intestinal flora protects the bowel from colonization of the pathogens, but this intestinal flora, when it gets disturbed by bacteria or viruses, it usually causes tissue damage and inflammation, and then it is depressed. Okay, so this gets depressed by when there is antibiotic therapy which is administered either orally or intravenously. So the pathogens enters into the body, causes tissue damage and inflammation by releasing endotoxins. Okay, by releasing endotoxins, it usually stimulates the lining of the intestine. Okay, but stimulates the mucosal lining of the intestine. So that results in the secretion of water and electrolytes into the intestinal lumen. Okay, so that results in the greater secretion of water and electrolytes into the intestinal lumen. So it is usually there. Then there is active secretion of chloride and bicarbonate ions in the small bowel, leading to inhibition of the sodium reabsorption. Okay, so due to this secretion of chloride and bicarbonate ions in the small bowel, like sodium reabsorption is inhibited. Okay, sodium reabsorption is inhibited. So due to this, what happens? To balance the excess sodium, large amount of proteins rich fluids are secreted in the bowel. Okay, to balance this sodium. Okay, to balance this sodium, so what is happening? Excess amount of protein rich fluids are secreted in the bowel. Next is, due to this, what is happening? Large bowel ability, like there is large bowel ability. Okay, the bowel has a large bowel ability to reabsorb the fluids. Okay, so that is then start reabsorbing the fluids. Okay, the large bowel starts reabsorbing the fluids that leads to diarrhea, and that in turn leads to gastroenteritis. So what is happening in this, that due to etiological factors, human intestinal flora, which is protecting the bowel from colonization of the pathogens, if it gets disturbed, okay, if it gets disturbed by harmful bacteria and viruses, it causes tissue damage and inflammation, and this intestinal flora is depressed by antibiotic therapy, like which is either given orally or intravenously, and then this pathogen causes tissue damage and inflammation by releasing endotoxins, but stimulates the mucosal lining of the intestine. So that results in the greater secretion of water and electrolytes in the intestinal lumen, and there is active secretion of chloride and bicarbonate, which in turn there is inhibition of sodium absorption in the small bowel. Due to balance this sodium, okay, to balance this sodium, excess protein has been fluids are being secreted in the bowel, and that usually what happens, large bowel reabsorbs the fluids, that leads to diarrhea, and in turn it leads to gastroenteritis. Okay, in turn it leads to gastroenteritis. Next, we'll see about the clinical symptoms that is usually seen in case of this gastroenteritis. So what are the symptoms that we can see? So normally it is sudden. Okay, this gastroenteritis, it is normally sudden. It starts with nausea, vomiting. Okay, it starts with nausea, vomiting, then it progresses to diarrhea. Okay, so normally the symptoms usually start suddenly. It starts with nausea and vomiting, and then it usually progresses to diarrhea. Okay, then it usually progresses to diarrhea. So what are the symptoms that you can see is that nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, abdominal cramps, and then a loss of appetite will be there, and also they will be having high temperature. Okay, they will be having high temperature, headache will be there. Okay, high temperature will be there, headache will be there, as well as blotting, as well as they'll be having blotting, and few cases you can see that they'll be having blood in the vomit or stool. Okay, in few cases you can see that they'll be having blood in the vomiting or stool. So that is usually the symptoms. Usually it is that it starts suddenly and it starts with nausea and vomiting, then progresses to diarrhea. So symptoms usually it is that nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal cramp, abdominal pain, blotting, as well as they'll be having high temperature, headache will be there. Few cases you can see blood in the vomit or stool, and also they'll be having loss of appetite. So these are usually the symptoms that is usually seen in case of gastroenteritis. So next is diagnostic evaluation. So what are the diagnostic evaluation we can do? Blood test and stool test should be done. Okay, blood test and stool test is done. So blood test and stool test, it is mainly done to know exact cause for this gastroenteritis. Okay, exact cause. Okay, to know exactly which organism is causing this, because I have told in the causes that it might be due to virus, bacteria, parasites, or any other causes. Okay, so in order to know the exact cause, okay, in order to know the exact cause, we go with blood test and stool test. Okay, we go with blood test and stool test. Then history collection should be done, physical examination should be done, then and also we have to go with kidney function test has to be assessed, because in I have told that there will be sodium like reabsorption, large bowel reabsorbs more. So all these things it is usually done. So therefore kidney function test also should be done. So these are the diagnostic evaluation that we go: history collection, physical examination, kidney function test, blood test and stool test should be done. So next is management. So normally most of the people with gastroenteritis, okay, most of the people with gastroenteritis require no treatment, okay, require no treatment. They recover recover very soon, okay, they recover very soon. So normally home treatment will be given, okay, in few cases home treatment will be given. The principal treatment of this gastroenteritis, it is mainly to rehydrate, okay, in children as well as in the adult. The main thing is that they have to rehydrate, okay, so they have to rehydrate. So that is usually, so what is that? So much of the fluids will be replaced, okay, much of the fluids will be replaced. The other then thing is antibiotics will be given. So antibiotics will be given if there is bacterial infection, okay, if it is due to bacteria, antibiotics will be given. So that is usually done. Next is antidiarrheal medications will be given, okay, so antidiarrheal medications will be given. So antidiarrheal medications, it is like atropine will be given, loperamide will be given, okay, atropine will be given, that is Lomotil, okay, so atropine will be given and loperamide will be given. Next, antiemetic medications are given mainly to reduce vomiting. So it is usually given like metoclopramide will be given, okay, so antiemetic medications are given, it is mainly given to reduce the vomiting, it is usually known as metoclopramide will be given. Then medications will be prescribed to reduce the symptoms also, such as like promethazine will be given, prochlorpromazine will be given, Ondastem will be given. So that is usually, this is about this management. So normally in case of gastroenteritis, it will, the people will be people require no treatment, they recover as they recover by themselves. So normally home treatment they go with that, the main principal home treatment they'll go, and the main principle or the principle for this treatment or management is that to reduce dehydration and rehydrate the person. So that for that they go with fluid and electrolyte balance will be maintained, large amount of fluids will be given for the person. Other than that, we go with antibiotic therapy, antidiarrheal medications will be given, antiemetic medications will be given. So all these medications, it is given to reduce the symptoms, okay, it is given to reduce the symptoms. So the preventive measures we have to take in order to reduce this gastroenteritis. So that is usually isolation should be done, okay, the main thing is that isolation should be done. So this is mainly done to prevent cross infection, okay, it is mainly done to prevent cross infection in the hospital. So therefore isolation should be done. And then we have to maintain cleanliness of the food, water and milk, okay, we have to maintain cleanliness of the food, water and milk. So it is contaminated water, food, everything should be avoided. We have to drink clean water, eat food after washing, like eat whatever the things that we should be clearly completely cooked as well as should be washed properly, then we should have, and we have to boil the milk and then we have to drink the milk. So that is usually done. Then fly control measures have to be taken so that we can protect the food, so that fly will not come and sit on the floor. So in order to protect from the flies, we have to cover the food and keep, okay, we have to cover the food and keep. So that is usually done. And then and then sanitary disposal of the feces, okay, sanitary disposal of the feces should be done. Open defecation should be avoided. So that is, toilets should be used for this one. So that is usually about this preventive measures that we have to take. So isolation should be kept. Then we have to we have to drink clean water, we have to eat clean food as well as we drink clean milk. Contaminated food, milk and water should be avoided. Then if at all, if the breastfeeding of the baby is done, then we can go with formula feeding can be done to the babies, and then we can go with fly control measures have to be taken, and then sanitary disposal of the feces should be done. So these are usually the preventive measures that we have to take in case of this gastroenteritis. So gastroenteritis, it is nothing but inflammation of the GI tract which involves both stomach as well as intestine. So this is mainly caused by bacteria, viruses, parasites and other causes. Usually causes this gastroenteritis. So mainly we go with nausea and vomiting and diarrhea. The main symptoms that we can see, it is nausea, vomiting and diarrhea. In few cases they will be having increased body temperature.